anybody that missed it. This is character sculpting one, the beginner course, and yeah. Last class, if you missed it, I have posted that as well. If you haven't seen the last class, it should be posted in the general chat for you right here. This week, you want to make sure that you go and check out the Brightspace page. Make sure that you are up to date on the assignments on Brightspace. So let me. So if you go to the course on Brightspace, you should have a request to either join, and then in the activities, the videos and the assignments should be up as well. The assignments and the quizzes should be up for you to see as well. So make sure that you guys go check that out. The quizzes are multiple choice. They're relatively straightforward, and I'm pretty sure I've gone over. I mean, all the questions in there. So. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. To fix your audio settings on Discord, if you're looking at my screen, you're just gonna need to go to right here on the user tab right there, and then right here in the voice and video.
I think it is on your second monitor.
It's on my second monitor. Oh, okay. Let me show you. Whoops. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Awesome. All right. Yeah. So to fix your audio issues, if you're having audio issues, right? You want to go here, right, to apps and settings. And you're gonna want to go to voice and video. All right. Once you get to voice and video, right here, you want to make sure that you've got your correct input set up. And if you don't know if it's set up, you can do a mic test right there. So you can do a check for it. And then you can also go here to your output devices to check to make sure that you can hear and it's coming out of the right microphone. So figure out whatever microphone or whatever speaker, not microphone, whatever speaker you're using to play the sound back, and make sure that it's set up right there. Other than that, you can check the sensitivity of your microphone here. Other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. So just try to use that to troubleshoot if whenever you're watching this video back, if you're having video issues. All right, video and audio issues. Yep. Now let's get back. Let's get back to it. All right, so like I was saying before. So yeah, make sure that you check out the Brightspace. Make sure that you are looking at the YouTube channel, because that's where I post these at as well. And you should have a link for it everywhere, right? It should be in the Brightspace. It should be in the general chat here. I'm just trying to say it multiple times so you know where to find the information that you're looking for. Always. All right. So let's dive into what we're going to do today. All right. So today, let's see. Let's look at last class. So last class, what we did was we modeled this nose. We didn't model. We sculpted it. Let's not say model it. We sculpted this here nose. And the idea is for us to start focusing more on the individual body parts themselves and not get bogged down by the entire model, right? Because if you're just focusing on just one little piece of it, right, you're more, you have the ability and you have the time to kind of focus in on the details and what makes that feature or that body part, and you're not rushing through it, right? Hopefully by the time you're done with these exercises, when you do a final bust or something or anything, you kind of have a better understanding of how to go about some of these processes. All right. So let us then. Let me change this. I think it's this guy. It's the one. All right. So this is the best one. Let me make sure that my keyboard is available. My no board. All right, so now you should have my keyboard on screen. So every time I click something or I hit something, you should be able to see it. This hopefully helps you guys know. And this little circle thing right here, right here, is my mouse pointer. All right, so, and then it even shows you what I'm clicking. So if you're using a mouse, you should know. All right, so let's continue here. All right, so in ZBrush, right, we have this panel right here called the subtool panel. And this panel is pretty cool, right? It does a lot of things for our model, our object, our sculpt, our bust, whatever it is we're creating. Right here is where you're going to find a lot of functions that you would normally find in some 3D programs. This allows you to boolean, merge, split a mesh. You can do some remeshing in here. You can even do some extracting of mesh in here. So if I wanted to make maybe, let's say a mustache or something, I could mask this out, right? I could mask this out if I wanted to make like a mustache or something, and then I could extract that, right? And it'll extract me something. And if I increased the thickness of that extraction, right? If I don't save it, it doesn't save the mesh. But what I can do here is I can increase the size of that extraction. You can see what I'm talking about, right? So there's a lot of things that I can do inside of this subtool area. And as you guys are working with this stuff, right, I want you guys to get more familiarized with this panel here, right? So this is your visibility count. You can change whatever you have selected here. If you've used 3ds Max, you might be familiar with these as like scene states, and these are like object states. So like what's visible on this object at any given moment. You can change it, you can change the color, you can change, all of these little options here. You've got 1 through 8 different versions or visibility things that you can do. A visibility set, that's what they call it, visibility set. All right. So now I'm going to append another object here. So what I'm going to do is, what that allows me to do is it allows me to add another object, right? And what I'm adding from is my 3D meshes. So these are the base 3D meshes that come with ZBrush right here, all right? And if you can't find them, right, you can go up here to your tool panel and they show them as well, right? These are 2.5D brushes, these are 3D meshes, and these are quick pick meshes. So these are like your, hey, I use these all the time, or these are very, very popular ones for people to use, right? These are the basic 3D meshes that you get in pretty much any 3D software package you're ever gonna use, right? That includes Max, Blender, all of them. They all have a cube, a cylinder, a cone, a ring of some sort of plane, and then they'll have their own specialty shapes. In 3ds Max, it's a teapot. In here, it's like a gear. Everybody should have like some sort of helix tool, So these are your base shapes. And a lot of the sculpting you're gonna do is going to start, if you're sculpting it from scratch, it's going to start a lot of the times with one of these guys in these base 3D meshes, right? So you might start with a sphere 3D, or maybe a cube 3D, or maybe a cylinder 3D. And a lot of these, when you first draw them on the screen, they have instances to them. So you can do different things with them. But a lot of the times, whenever I drag one, or I append one in here, I'm just using it base, and I'm going to subdivide it myself, right? So um, that's how those usually work. So I'm going to append another sphere here. So another thing I can do is, so if I select my sphere, you can't really see it, but it's in his nose, because it always, you know, puts everything back in origin. So if I want to see my sphere, well, you know, just based on context clues, if I click on this eye right here, it'll make that nose that we worked on. And even if I want, I can make it appear again. But yeah, if I click on that eye, it'll make it disappear. But the reason it's appearing is because I have it selected. If I want it to disappear, I'm gonna have to select the sphere. All right. So remember that if you click the eye and it doesn't disappear, the reason is because you probably have another sub tool selected in your mesh. So now that I have my sphere selected, my new sphere object, now I want to pick a different body part and start modeling that. All right. So that is just, you know, basics of getting into it. Let's look at the animation, the animation for sculptors page, right? Anatomy for sculptors. Anatomy for sculptors. That's what it's called. Anatomy for sculptors. And we'll just pick a different. So we did the nose last time. Maybe we do the mouth. Or, yeah, we'll do the mouth. And the mouth is a pretty interesting, it's a pretty interesting body part, right? So when we go over the anatomy of the mouth, right? So you want to look at it like this. In the center of the upper lip is one easily distinguishable protuberance, also called the tubercle, right? It's that little piece right here, right? It's that little ball shape right there. So you want to put that as a marker for whenever you're sculpting. Remember that, right? There's this little tubercle piece right there. What I've always remembered as well is that the mouth is always shaped like an orange. Like, imagine it like somebody just cut a half an orange and then stuck it like right on the face. That's a very simple indicator for me to remember that by. All right. So the lower lip body is made up of two fused tubercles, similar to peanuts in a shell. So that's what they're talking about when they talk about the lips. So if you look at this diagram, so you've got the roof of the mouth, which is this green cylinder, and then you've got the mouth pillars, then you've got the chin that's kind of stuck right into it, and then you've got those two tubercles, right? And then the one tubercle that makes up the upper part of the lip, all right? So using this, right, like I said before, whenever you're sculpting anything, you want to make sure that you're keeping all of these little things in mind, right? You're looking for the lower lip, also known as the vermilion, and then there's the vermilion cornice, which is like the corner of, which is like the bottom side of the lip, and then you've got the vermilion border, which is like the corner of the lip, And then you've got the upper body, which is the vermilion itself, and then the vermilion cornice, which is like the upper-ish part of the lips. And let's not forget the upper lip tubercle that we just talked about, right? So that's the anatomy of the mouth area, the lips. We're not even talking about the inside of the mouth. We're not talking about how the teeth are affecting some of this action here. All right, so that's just the mouth area right here, and you can see why when you're looking at this that you're you know a lot of this action right here. There's a lot of muscle that goes onto it, so you can see where that the chin is, right? Then there's those two tubes right there that make up the lip, right? So you want to kind of keep this in mind whenever you're modeling or you're sculpting anything. So I always have this right on, I always have it right on whatever I'm working on. I already have it open on the side, so let me open up the piece of the reference. Let me find that. And the reason is because I may think I know what it looks like, but I honestly, I'm not looking at my own lips all the time, and I'm not staring at a pair of lips. So I could think I know it, but I honestly don't know it as well as I think I do. So it's always important, right? If there's one thing you take out of this class, if you don't take anything out of this class, right? Take away the use of reference. Use reference all the time. When you don't think you need reference, you need reference. Especially those moments when you're like, I don't need reference. I know how to do this. I've seen a hand a million times. I've seen an eye a million. That is exactly when you are going to need reference because you're about to mess something up, right? You think AI is bad at hands. Try drawing hands without knowing, without having good reference. So that is my little reference rant for the day. Use reference. All right. So like I said before, we're gonna try to focus on the mouth area now. So let me do BCB, and BCB, that's a shortcut, right? So B is the brush tool, C is the clay tool, it goes into the C section, and then B again is the clay build-up tool. That's just a little way to, there's only a few brushes I use on ZBrush a lot of the times to do the build-up, to sculpt, to draw, do whatever I'm doing, and I keep those on, those are the basic hotkeys, right? And if you guys start getting more into this, you're gonna start learning hotkeys yourself. All right. So let's draw. We'll act like this is the mouth. All right. Like I said, I think I act like it's an orange, kind of like an orange. All right. And then I'm just gonna do B. I'm gonna BMV is the move tool. All right. Just gonna use this to kind of build something up. Just to build up a base. Like I said, I'm always going broad before I go back in. So BCB again. I'm going to reduce the brush size. Alright. In this way, just going to split it in half. Alright. Just like that. And I'm constantly eyeing my reference to make sure that I'm, and as usual, you guys see that it always is going to start a little funky looking, right? It's going to start a little funky. Right now, this guy looks super Gumby-ish. But once you start throwing in those markers, right, you start identifying those things that you're seeing in your reference, right? When you start doing things like that, you're going to start understanding this stuff better, all right? So I'm going big to small. I'm doing the big moves first, right? So I'm going to do BMV again, grab my move tool, all right? Start moving stuff around, right? And I'm not, minimal clay. I'm not going crazy with detail. Shift to smooth things out. And all I'm using right now is the move tool. All right. So now I'm just moving some of these tubercles around. All right. I'm just moving some of these around. And if I ever feel like, hey, I'm getting stuck or I don't understand, I go and hunt down some more reference, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do is whenever you're feeling stuck and you don't understand something, go find some more reference. Find somebody who knows how to do it and then try to pick their brain about it. All right? So now let me go back to BCB, and then what I notice is from the lip, from the inside of the nose, right? Remember when we're talking, if we imagine the nose is like right here, right? If we imagine there's a nose right around this area, that what happens is with the nostril being right here, what happens is there's this little bulbous area that comes out right here and then it goes right back in. But on the nostril, right, if with the nostrils going in, right, there's a little piece out here that comes out like that that meets the lip area and kind of smooths out into something along those lines. All right. And a lot of the times, what you're going to realize is a lot of these pieces, they flow into each other. A lot of the body parts that we have, they flow into each other. And once you start to understand the flow of those body parts, right, you're gonna start being better as a modeler. So I'm just gonna go back into geometry mode now, right? What I like to do is let's take a look at our mesh. Right now, I've taken this mesh pretty far. I've stretched it, pulled it, right? Like it doesn't look good anymore. Like if I went ahead and just started adding more geometry to especially these regions, I'm breaking that the mesh integrity, right? And so at this point, this is when I would either consider either going for um, a Dynamesh Z remesh situation, right? And then maybe Z remesh this just so I have much better topology, right? Dynamesh Z remesh situation, or I would just, if I control Z this, I would just divide this a couple times, right? You would divide this a couple times. And the difference is, as you guys can see, this, if I just divide the mesh, it's taking the amount of geometry that I have and it's just doubling it and then doing that over and over again, right? Whereas whenever I go and I dynamesh it, right, it's saying, all right, this guy has this overall mesh and I'm going to re-subdivide everything for you, right? I'm going to re-subdivide. I'm going to take it and I'm going to try to redistribute those polygons all over again. When you just divide it, it doesn't try to redistribute those polygons or try to make sense of it or anything like that, right? So when I do the Dynamesh, right, you see that the geometry of it has changed. That's why you go then into the Z remesher, and then you Z remesh that so that you have something that looks much more palatable to the geo. All right. So now the good thing about this is now if I subdivide this, it's not as bad. All right. So I'm gonna go back. Whoops. Go back in my subdivision, and like I said, I don't like to. Everything you want to work low to high. That includes the geometry as well. You don't want to just start working in subdiv 2, subdiv 3. You want to take the model as far as it can go here. BDS, BDS, and that's the Damien standard tool, right? You want to take the model. Oh, that's not what you're supposed to do. You want to take the model as far as you can go at this level before you go to the next level of subdivision. So now I might just come in, right? Remember, we've got our little tubercle here, and then these are two tubercles essentially inside of a peanut. All right. So that's what we're doing now, is adding some of those things that we just learned, right? And I'm smoothing it out, and then I'm going to use BCB again, maybe use a little clay build up to build in and fill it in a little bit, right? All right. So now let's throw that chin in here. Right? I'm going to make a big chin. Right, and I'm, you guys see that I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit just so you guys kind of see, where we're going with this. But, all right, I'm just going to throw an exaggerated chin in here. Might give him a little dimple. A little booty chin. Nothing wrong with that. All right. And then we've got like these guys that kind of go over there. We go. Make it look a little more natural. And if I go BDS again, which is the Damien standard tool, right? Right now it's at an intensity of 33. I might want to reduce it a little bit. And what this does is it's going to give me some sharp edges. And I want to maybe start, defining some of these corner planes of the lips for myself, right? I'm not using it to make any final detail markers or anything like that, but I am using it to start to try to define some of those final things. All right, so I'm gonna then go back to clay standard brush, maybe throw a little clay in here. All right, because like I said before, a lot of what you're going to realize is that a lot of these shapes, a lot of these body parts, they flow right into one another, right? They flow right back into one another. So maybe if I go up here, you guys can start to see. Let me go BDS. I just went up in subdivision there, all right? All right, just went up in subdivision for the first time. Smooth this out. All right. So right now you can see those. They should be coming straight from the nostril. So BCB. All right, that's why it's not looking the way it should. I'm gonna put this nostril right back in here where you can see it a little better. All right. Remember we learned about the nose, And then this guy right here comes straight from right here. Boom. Right, it goes in and then comes right out. Alright. So remember, let's now start looking at a couple. Alright, let's go back to BDS, which is our Damien standard, and then try to define this again. It's a little bit, and the cool thing is with the opposite end of it, then I can dig in a little bit right here, just to emphasize some of that, and then might dig in a little bit right here. All right. All right, and then maybe want to emphasize this separation just a little more, right? And remember, these guys are more like those beans, little tubercle beans that we have in there. All right. Let's go ahead like so. I'm just shift to smooth it out. Using shift to smooth it out like that. All right. And the idea is you're building all of this up very slowly. You're building it up, you're building it up, you're building, right? So that a lot of those pieces that you're getting, a lot of those anatomy, things that you're getting, you're slowly putting it into the model. Even this is a little too pronounced. I'm a little crazy with that. But as you guys can see, if you work slowly, you can start to build up something. And what I'm not doing is I'm not going one for one copying it. I'm using the reference as a guide for myself, right? As a guide to know where all of these markers are so that when I make my things, when I make my sculpts, right, they look more accurate, more believable, right? Because that's what we want at the end of the day is we want people to look at our artwork and go, oh, okay, I know what that body part is, or I know what that piece is. And the only way you guys are going to start to know that and recognize that is if you guys start practicing some of these body parts individual of themselves, right? Because what happens is if all you're focusing on is the whole body all the time, you're not going to be able to really dive down into what makes each of those body parts, each of those pieces, kind of their own thing, right? And you could be spinning your wheels there for a while if you don't understand, like, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't my sculpt or my drawing or my stuff looking like they belong together or they make sense? Well, it's because doing the right you're not doing the right process. You're not respecting those individual pieces for what they are, right? So you're gonna want to go back and kind of do that. So, just look at reference. Right? It's not cheating. Trust me, it's not cheating. So now I'm gonna go back and look at some more reference to get a little more understanding. Because like with something like this, so let me go BMV again. Right, and this is where you can start, playing with proportions of things and placement of things and how things are protruding or coming in or going out. right? We can make this guy have bigger jowls, you know. All right. These are things that we can start to, we can make him smile, you know. So you just got to start looking at those things, start trying to implement those pieces that you notice. Study the reference, look at what makes the reference the reference, look at what makes those pieces, and then try to implement it into your own work, right? It's studying, but studying with a purpose, right? And the thing is, you're not going to be good at it the first couple of times, right? You're not gonna do your first one and it be look awesome. You're gonna have to do a couple, right? Some people are that talented that they can do that. I'm not. It took me a while to understand how a lot of these pieces work together. It took me a while to start to even to do it to do it properly and you know but I just stuck with it, right? And I'm still not even the best at it. I know a lot of guys that are that are killer at just character stuff and character sculpts and things like that, and their understanding of anatomy sometimes blows me away, you know. So remember, practice, 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 practice. All right, and at this point, you can start. Mm-hmm. All right. But that is definitely that for this class. So now we have the mouth and the nose. So yeah, you guys go ahead and try this sculpt. Pick a different body part than you did last time, and then just go to town. All right, do some studying. Um, you know, Start to understand what makes that body part. Sculpt it, draw it, and then post it on the thread for critique. All right, that is it. If you guys have any other questions, definitely let me know. If you don't, you are free to go. On uh, don't forget to check on Brightspace for your weekly assignments, your quiz, if there is one, and yeah. So here's something cool about this. Let's let me draw. Let me draw this guy. Let's draw this guy. Moustache. This is a moustache. Let's make it a. Alright. And then maybe let's give him a. There we go. Alright, now let's see. I think this should work the same way. If we go to the fibers, we should be able to. There we go. that thing is gnarly. Let's see if I can find a short hair one. Oh, that's crazy looking. Here we go. Fancy. All right, guys, have fun. Try it out. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to hit me up with any questions that you may have. Do you have any questions right now for me, Dylan? Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
I do not have any questions. Thank you for the lecture.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. I will see you guys on Friday. Hopefully, you guys enjoy some of this stuff.
Thank you.
Have a good one, man.
Have a good day. Have a good week.
You too, man.